Hi guys, welcome to Ed Puzzles. What you're seeing on my screen, besides me, I don't know why I'm in the middle, is Ed Puzzles. We have to get through a significant amount of content, and I think it works a little bit better if I have the opportunity to engage with you and interact with you in the classroom, and you do notes outside of the classroom. Um, in the past, when I've done notes in the class, there's often much stopping and interruption. Uh, so by allowing you to engage in note taking on your own, I can clarify, explain, go into greater detail on topics that you're confused on, and then those of you who move more quickly can get through the notes quickly and move on to something else. And then I can really work on the challenging content and math components in the classroom. So, in order to accomplish this, you guys are going to get, and I have one right here. Let me make this big for a sec. Okay. Gonna get one of these. Somebody did ask if they could get a spiral bound one. I think if you look inside, it is the grid, and I asked for the grid notebook. It does make it a little bit harder to see, and if that really bothers you, you can glue in some lined paper on top. But the reason why I asked for grid is there's going to be graphing and a variety of other lab style things that we'll be doing in here. So using the grid notebook is important. This is nice for me because I will be collecting them and taking them home. And a lot of the upper level teachers require this particular notebook. Um, if you really prefer the spiral, which I understand the argument, being able to flip the whole title around so you can do this and write on it. I I, I get it, and that's fine. Just be gentle with it because this is your participation grade. Um, you'll have open note quizzes on your notes, but I will also be giving you participation points for doing these like note taking activities. The next video in this cycle is going to be about Cornell and here it is. That's not the one. The next video in the cycle will be this one. Let me get my face out of the way here. It's called Improving Cornell Notes with Sketchnoting. You're going to watch that video. I'll have a series of questions and suggestions to go along with it. Okay? And as you go through that, um, you'll be at least setting up your notes for the first round. So you'll get your notebook. You're going to put your name, your mentor, teacher, the Sonhammer on the front of here. I may even get a sticker for you guys to put on the front so it's identifiable if you were to lose it. And then on the first page, I'm going to ask you to just leave it blank. And then starting on the second page is where, and it's up to you. It depends on you how many books you want to buy. If you're I only like to write on one side, that's fine. Um, Sustainability wise, I would prefer for you to write front and back, but if you're a really dark writer or you really, really, really like to write in pen and it starts to bleed through, then just doing one page and then flipping may be your best option. I'm not that picky. What I am picky about is all your notes need to be dated. So the guy's going to mention in the video about how they make this nice little visual date. Do that if you want, or just make sure it's dated so I know what day this is coming from. And that way I know your stuff is going mostly in order so you're not confused. This notebook is kind of like your Bible you're going to get for science. Um, I think what I'm going to allow is all my quizzes to be open note, which is why it's important that you do the Cornell note style because it allows you to organize your notes in a very effective and efficient way. We are going to be using, and 90% of your notes, or maybe probably like 70. Let's go with 70. That's a better percentage. 70% of your notes will probably come through this. This is Ed Puzzle. There is a login, so you were expected to go through the, let me open a new canvas. Canvas. And I know we didn't, one of my classes may not have gotten through all of it, but you need to check. You were supposed to go through the Welcome to Physics and read through this entire thing. There are access codes. Okay, we did syllabus, Sondheimer, and survey. Here are your supplies that you need, your class expectations. You do need to have these apps downloaded by Sunday, well, by your next class. You need to have both of these apps on your phone in class the next time I see you. 2. If there's a caveat, I've had students not have phones, which I get that, whether they were taken away or you just don't own a phone. Reasonable. Please tell me in advance so I know who to look out for grade wise, because we're going to turn in all of our assignments using this. Okay. Unless you have extenuating circumstances. Edpuzzle, here's the login right here. You'll click on this link, and I would ask that you use your Google account to log in. So if you're not sure how to do this, I'll help some of you guys in our next class. But ultimately, you'll click on here, and for you, it'll take you to this login page. And once you get to the login page, since I'm already logged in, it's going to kind of throw it off here. So once it takes you to the login page, if you scroll all the way down to the bottom, there's a Google Accounts option, and use your school account. And your school account email would be, so for example, mine would be K Sondheimer 03, my graduation year, at ccp-stl.org. And if you've never logged in before, it should be password.com. If you have logged in before, then it's going to be whatever you left it as last year. Okay? So make sure you're logging into this. If you're having issues, please find a time to meet with me or let me know. And while we work on our starter, I can kind of assist you on this. Intro to class, that's the stuff we started working on. So I altered this direction, so I'll fix it. If you accurately land the bottle the most times in a minute, you earn 100%. And then please pay attention to modules, because I'm going to have each unit will have a layout like this, and the layout will give you all your vocab with a lot of your definitions. It'll give you the key topics, so when you are Cornell noting, you kind of have a guide of what should be in your narrow header. So quick brief overview. If I open up this, handwriting notes is a style of active learning. Sorry, my son got a hold of this. Writing in your notes is a style of active learning. So I will not allow typing, and most of the time I won't even allow you to have your laptop open. Or sometimes even on your desk. They may just stay in your backpack. It's imperative that you write your notes. So I'll give you a brief overview. Cornell Notes looks something like this. There's the section at the top. So in your typical line, here if I switch this to ruled lines, in your typical ruled line, you have your header component. You have your header component. And that's kind of where a title would go. I'm going to tell you you need a title and a date. So today is 8/16. I've been getting into this drawing thing. So if this helps you, stick it to memory, you might say August. I'm touching it with my hand. Okay, August 16th, 2018. It's really hard for me to write on the screen, but I like to get crafty with stuff. And for some of you, that may help stick it into memory, having active doodles, active and scientific doodles, or doodles that make it look nicer, help guide your eyes to different locations. Okay? Title should be huge, like take up this whole section. But remember, you are drawing on, you'll be working on grid paper, so you're just going to have to identify a title section. If it makes it better for you to like draw a definitive line, do that. So here's my definitive line. And then somebody recommended using this 3-finger method, which means take your finger, put it in the crease of your notebook, and then draw to the left. This is the right. Draw to the right of it. Okay. It doesn't need to be perfect, but what should go here? Everything in this section the guy's going to mention is like the notes you're kind of live taking right now. Like, what are some ideas? You can bullet point. This kind of is a free rein. It's just what you're jotting down as you go along. It could be pictures, bullets, lists, graphs, etc. Now, over here on this side are your guiding ideas, topics, headings. So maybe you're writing these notes and you're like, oh, all of this is about the scientific method. So, scientific method. And then somewhere in here you mention variables. Oh, well, that's an important vocab word, so I'm going to mark it to the side. Maybe you defined variables right here. So I'm going to mark it to the side and maybe give myself an exclamation point so I know, like, hey, this is kind of an important vocab. It's probably going to show up in like a multiple choice or a short answer or something on the test. So, and then there's multiple different variables. There's the IV and the DV. Okay, I just abbreviated for time's sake, but this is where you might talk about like the independent does blah blah blah. The dependent does blah blah blah. All right. So this is a Cornell note style. If I zoom out, at the bottom of each page, there's a summary section. So you'll draw a line, and this summary is about 1 to 2 sentences. So when you're taking an open note quiz, your eye should go to the left-hand side first. You're looking for your key ideas and topics. Does this cover what the test question is asking me? No, there's nothing on scientific methods or variables. Double check here, all right? Then you can flip through, so you're not stuck looking at your notes nonstop. You can kind of assess this page. Nope, this is not the page. It must be on a different page, right? So physics notebook, let's see. Here we go. Oh, look, free fall. Here's what we did last year. This page is about free fall and instantaneous velocity, rising objects, and distance of an object. Oh man, and there's a drawing that kind of sets it out for me. Okay, as you go through most of my past notes, I've used, here's Cornell again, acceleration, talking about all these little details. Y, meters per second squared. 3 ways to accelerate. Look, this dude's falling. Okay, so I'm rambling, so I'll stop now. But that's Cornell note style. The guy is going